Slate's got a lot of these like really good questions, right? So basically, it's a deer care and feeding, and this is what's a problem that someone's have. I need some advice addressing a parenting conflict that arises between my daughter, Kate, and my daughter-in-law, Tammy. Every time our family gets together, my husband and I and our 2 kids are lucky to be thin without ever worrying about what we eat. Our daughter married a very athletic man, and the family is quite active and puts a high emphasis on healthy eating, only allowing cake and soda. Our son, on the other hand, married a mildly plump woman who gained a large amount of weight after having their 2 kids. And instead of getting on the weight loss bandwagon, she's decided to embrace it as a positive, which is sort of like an old school mom being like, and for some reason she thinks it's good.
Yeah, what is this body positivity business?
That is so funny, being like a mom and you're just like, yeah, my son's daughter put on like 80 pounds and she told me it's good.
Yeah, she's proud.
Yeah, she said it's like sweet and for some reason. And but she goes, Tammy brings sweet snack food and fast food wherever she goes for her and her kids, who are already visibly pumped despite being typically active kids. And all 5 grandkids are between 3 and 8. So she's got the whole family on the getting fat bandwagon. And when we get together, Kate always wants her kids. It warns her kids against accepting junk food. So she's got one kid that's like, they're healthy and they don't have junk food. And then the other person is, she's gotten really fat. She's proud of it. And she's turning the kids into Cartman, right?
Yeah.
With being,
I mean, how could, what's she supposed to do? Like,
what's one supposed to do?
The fat one is like, if she makes this her identity, so she can't.
She's made it her whole
She's got to lean
identity.
into it and just be like, yeah, we're a sugar household.
We're a sugar household.
We eat sweets.
Yeah, it's the best identity, right? And then, but here's where it gets good. This led to one or more blow up. Kate criticizing Tammy's eating and child feeding habits, and Tammy was in tears. My son was yelling at the sister for upsetting his wife because she keeps giving all the fast food to her skinny kids.
Yeah, and then the kids are sharing them with each other too. It's like the cousins are like, hey, that looks good. Can I have that?
Yeah.
Go, my mom says I'm not allowed to.
So basically, you have one mom that's like, I only let my kids eat healthy. And Tammy's showing up with fast food and, giving her kids a Big Mac. And she's like, I don't give them, 5 sodas a day. And she's saying, well, that's because you're a bigot.
Yeah. I mean, my brother's like that. Like his kid doesn't eat like fucking crazy shit like that,
No, I think a lot of parents are like, at the very least, they're saying,
like, let your kids eat that stuff, but like, don't fucking.
Well, it's also it changes a little bit. Like the truth is, if your kids play sports all day long and they're going and playing and they may skateboard or whatever it is, they go play outside for 6 hours and they, little skinny kids have 6-packs or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's hard to be like, oh, you're getting fat. But if your kid's like sitting at home playing video games, he's 500 pounds, it's not that crazy to be like, hey, you can't just, you can't have a full pack of fucking, Rolos.
Yeah. Well, it's not even, but it's just, they're like, don't give my fucking kids like,
and that's
Halloween
even more
candy
reason
every time you see
yeah.
them. You're like,
but it's so funny. It's the same thing as being like, because she's like, oh, there's nothing wrong with eating too much or whatever, right? But the same reason you could be like, there's nothing wrong with smoking weed. I'm an advocate for smoking weed. I think if people want to smoke weed or if people want to drink, that's their business, right? It's like, okay, but you don't get to give it to my kids.
Yeah, obviously.
But then on top of that, to think that you're in the right to be just like,
well, but you need it. It's the constant confirmation of your own bullshit. Like you need to.
Yeah, you need to be like, turn their kids against their healthy mom, which you're right. They probably already are turned against her a little bit. Because she's got to eat
she's no fun.
Making her eat vegetables.
Fucking the veggie lady. You're on. She's no fun.
They must love it when Tammy comes in. You know what I mean? They just see their glass of fucking water that they have to drink dinner with shaking. Yeah. Their glass of V8 vegetable juice just starts shaking.
Yeah, and it sucks for the parents too because obviously they're the no fun ones and.
Dude, Tammy coming over must be such a fucking rip for these people.
And you got to be like, look, I don't care. She's gonna give you ice cream. You're not allowed to eat that ice cream.
Yeah. Tammy's eating and child feeding habits. Tammy's in tears. My son yelling at his sister for upsetting his wife. But it feels like her first duty is to raise her kids healthy, and that Tammy forces the issue by trying to impose her family's habits on Kate. Similar to if Kate were to take Tammy's kids' sugary and salty snacks away and replace them with Capri Suns and Mountain Dews with reusable water bottles, which she has talked about but hasn't actually ever done. But that would be funny. Yeah, she comes back and she goes, I took your kids' Big Macs away, and here's a carrot for your kid. Two can play at that game, and they just completely swap. Where Tammy's kids get fucking skinny and fucking
just out of some weird beef.
That is so funny though that they're yelling at each other too. It's like in her face, like, you know, you got to stop. If you want to eat your fucking Big Macs, eat your fucking Big Macs, but don't give it to the kid. And she starts crying.
And she's like, what's wrong with my Big Mac?
Yeah. It's just like the husband of the fat wife has got to be like, Jesus Christ.
Honestly, it's not that crazy or hard to just be like, hey, just can you not fucking, when the rare time we see each other.
I know. Well,
stop giving my kid candy.
Well, Slate's advice columnist is so out to lunch. They basically said to the girl in the response, they were kind of like, it sounds like she's in the wrong to give your kids food or whatever, which is obviously any sane person would say that. But then she was like, but maybe she's, you know, just acting this way because the way that you guys treat her weight, and if you were nicer about her weight, so they basically were like, you're both wrong kind of thing.
A little bit blaming everybody, yeah.
And it was just like, no. Well, thank you for watching that clip, supporting the channel. If you like the Boyscast, there's a new episode every week at patreon.com/theboyscast.
That's patreon.com/theboyscast.